All right, so today what we're going to do is we're going to continue our look at angles and some of the properties of angles, right? Last time we were here, we looked at angles that were, that when you add them up made a corner, which are called what kind of angles? Complementary angles, right? So complementary angles are angles that add up to make how many degrees? 90 degrees. Okay? Now, you can have two or more. So it could be 20 angles, right? That'd be unusual, but it could be two or more angles that add up to 90 degrees. As long as they add up, as long as they add up to make 90 degrees, then you've got complementary angles. Okay? Well, today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the next one, and that's going to be angles on a line. What do we know? Nah, doesn't matter. Can't if you want. What do we know about the angle that is a straight line? 180 degrees, right? A straight angle is 180 degrees. So if you're talking about angles on a line, what do you think, Natalia? What are they going to add up to? 180, exactly. Okay, and they have a name. Okay, these are called supplementary angles. Absolutely. Supplementary angles. That's two or more angles that sum or add, same difference, right? Usually math books like to use the word sum. I call it add, but it doesn't make any difference, right? Sum is same as add. That add to what? 180 degrees. Okay, angles on a line. Okay. So that's an example, yeah. If you have two right angles, right? They would add together to make 180 degrees. Therefore, those two right angles are supplementary or supplements of each other.
Isn't that the same as right triangle? Hold up.
So again, we know that a straight line is also known as a straight angle, which means that it adds up to 180 degrees. Oh, wow. I hope I can pass this test. All right, then. So that means that if you have angles that add up to make a straight line, that means they add to make 180. So here you go. Also remember that when you know part of an angle, and then you know what the sum of it is going to be, we can always find the missing part. And we can find that missing part by doing what operation? Subtracting, right, exactly. Now, if it's complementary angles, we're going to be subtracting from what number? 90. Good. But if it's supplementary angles, we're going to be subtracting from what number? 180. Okay? Good. All right. So calculate this angle. If that's 45 degrees and you see it's lined up along a straight line, that means that we simply have to subtract it from 180 degrees. Anybody? Yes. 135? Yeah. There you go. Right. Good job. So what we did was we simply took the 180 degrees. Now, remember, we're measuring angles, so that's always in what kind of units? Degrees. I expect to see degrees in your working and in your answer. Right? So 180 degrees minus the 45 degrees we know gives us 135 degrees left over. So that's the measure of angle X. It's good? Yeah. So if you can subtract or use your calculator, you can do these. But you just have to remember, supplement means how many degrees? 180. Complement means how many degrees? 90 degrees. And if you can remember that, then you're in good shape. All right, let's see what else we got going on. Yes?
So what happens, like, if you know, because you know you have to use units for your thing. If you use units but then you forget, so if you only use units in your ask but not the working out, is that still okay?
No. You're going to get fewer points for it. Right? You'll still get some credit for the right answer, but you need to use your units in your working out for us. Okay? Now remember that for angles, to remember that we're not just talking about unknown numbers, we're talking about unknown angles. We typically use the Greek alphabet, so Greek letters to represent those unknown angles. So you have that funny little A, so that's the Greek letter alpha. Okay? Right? Yes. Oh,
does that mean like it's it says it shows an unknown angle? Does that mean like you have to work it out, or do you just get X?
It just gives it a name, right? So all this is just a naming convention.
Does it always have to be A, or can it be beta or...
No, it can be any Greek letter. But when you see Greek letters, that typically means you're talking about some unknown angle. When you see the English alphabet, that usually stands for some unknown what? Number. There you are. Okay? But if it's a Greek letter, that typically stands for some unknown angle. Now, but just a moment ago, we had one that was called X. So is that a 100% absolute rule? Not at all. Yes?
Is it not wrong if we use X?
No. It's not wrong. It's just preferable to use Greek letters. And the most common one is actually not alpha. The most common one we use is theta. And so like when you move forward and you're doing trigonometry, etc., you're going to see theta all the time.
So, like, do you think instead of like X or something on the test or something, it'll just have theta, or it asks us to write a letter for it?
Exactly. So you just use a Greek letter and you can use any one you like.
Also, straight angles, what's the also called?
Straight angles?
Yeah.
Two angles that add together to make a straight angle are called supplementary angles.
What's beta?
Okay?
What does that look like?
Theta? It's this thing.
Oh, a beta.
Well, that's theta.
Oh.
Beta is that funny B with a long tail on it. Right? Okay? Then alpha. I just draw an A and put an extra line. And I don't know. It's anyway. Y'all are better at drawing than me, so.
It's like an A and then a C.
A and a with a, yeah. Very odd. Okay. There we go. So, what does the word adjacent mean? Next to or side by side. Good. Adjacent angles are angles that are next to each other. So here, angle alpha and angle beta are adjacent. And of course, yeah. There we go. Straight angles are how many degrees?
180.
Excellent. I know you don't let me get away without checking it. We use Greek letters or Greek symbols to show what? Unknown angles. Good job. Okay. And it doesn't matter really, but we really, with angles, we typically prefer those. Blank are angles that are next to each other? Adjacent. Good. I'm doing your homework. I need to knock it off. The size of a blank angle can be used to find an unknown adjacent angle. So, no, exactly. If you know the size of an angle, right, and then you know part of it, then you can find the rest of it. Excellent. Okay. Yep, except that we're doing supplements instead of complements. So, angles that add to 180 degrees are called supplementary. An easy way for that is that supplementary angles live on a straight line. So they both start with the same letter, right? In the States, we remember that because supper is the biggest meal of the day. But yeah, but y'all don't eat supper.
Supper is the biggest meal of the day.
Supper is like a small snack.
Like
Supper's-
if you have dinner or dinner.
Well, y'all just call it dinner. We call it supper.
Supper after dinner, like hot chocolate.
It's different. It's a little different from here, though. But in the States, it's different. Okay? All right, so if you look here, all three of these angles add up to what?
183.
And you know that because they lie on a straight line. So therefore, they're supplementary. These two angles add up to be what?
183.
So the orientation of the line doesn't make any difference, does it? It can be anywhere as long as it's a straight line. Okay? So don't get hung up on orientation. A lot of times students have trouble with geometry because they worry about orientation of things. It makes no difference.
What day in March is it? 11th?
Yes. The 9th. Okay? So here we go. Find the unknown angle x. Go! Now, so we're going to be talking about what are called revolution angles. Now, we talked about this. This is one of the types of angles that we talked about. What does a revolution angle mean?
It's an angle that goes all the way around, so it's 360.
Exactly. Revolution means a full rotation or a full revolution all the way around, so it always adds up to 360 degrees, right? So if angles, okay, are revolutions, then that always add up to make what? 360 degrees. So just like the other ones that we did, except that we're talking about adding to a different amount, because if you change the amount, the size of the angles, then you change the amount. Okay? There you go. Yep. So we're going to be able to identify, count revolutions, and calculate unknown angles. So here we are. Remember that a full revolution is 360 degrees. That means when two lines cross each other, the size of the angles are predictable. So in other words, if you know the inside angle here of 110, we also know the outside angle.
Yeah.
Do you agree? Because this inside angle and this outside angle have to add together to make what? 360 degrees, right? Well, if they add together to make 360, I can find the unknown one by simply taking 360 and subtracting the known one, which gives me what, guys? Well, give me a number, actually. There you go. All right. So that means that x is 250 degrees.
Mr. Sal,
Right?
after we do that, do we then have to show the 110 plus x?
No. All just need to see the subtraction.
Okay.
Okay? All right. So that means we can find the unknowns. Is it always going to be two angles? No, it could be more, right? It could be divided into more. Good job. All right. So here they're using the Greek letter theta, saying that it's an unknown angle. In other words, instead of just x, they usually use Greek letters. No big deals. Big deal. I would prefer you do. Adjacent means what? Next to. So these two angles are considered to be adjacent because one is right next to the other. Okay? All right. Keep the idea of adjacent angles is very important. Full revolution angles are what? 360. Good. Okay? We use Greek letters or Greek symbols to show what kind of angles? Unknown. And so we already went through some of these. I'm not going to go through more of those. I'm going to let you. Instead, let's go through some revolution angles so we can talk about those. Again, remember, revolution angles add up to what? 360. Often called full rotations and often called full circles or complete turns. Now, I want you to write those down because that terminology is very important. You're going to see it. Full circle means what? How many degrees? 360. Complete turn means what? 360. So if you make a complete turn, that means you're facing one way. You turn around until you're facing that same way again, right?
So they're all different.
Okay,
names
complete
for the
turn.
full
But yes, it's just all different names for revolution. Okay, complete or full turn, same thing. Yeah, you betcha.
So
Okay.
full circle and
So all of those add up to 360 degrees. Okay? Now, if you look here, this time, we've got all three angles here. And because they're all adjacent, side by side, they go all the way around. If you look at the little measurement in the middle, there's a circle there, right? That tells you they go all the way around, which means that all three of those things add up to what? 360. Now, these look equal, but can we just assume they're equal? No. But, so in this case, they're all unknown angles, so we wouldn't be able to say what any one of them was without measuring or being told what the value of one of them was. Okay? Okay? Exactly.
So is that just like the full circle, all angles that add up to the full circle?
So all of those angles add up to make the full circle.
So are they called full circles or complete turns?
Either one.
Could you just do
They all mean the same thing.
360 divided by 3?
Well, you could do it divided by 3 if they were all the same size, but do we know that they're all the same size? No.
So will we always be given?
All right, so revolution is how many degrees?
360.
360. Here we go. Go.
C minus 248 joules. Oh no. You mind?
Can't end in 5 if you have an 8 and a 0. It's got to have a 2. Okay, good job. Thank you, Olivia. All right, so straight line, how many degrees? Whole circle?
360.
Right angle?
90.
How easy is life right now? Yeah?
High.
Okay.
Extremely high.
Extremely difficult. I know.